Hey everyone, welcome to the live stream. It's great to be here with you guys today. And I am hanging out with y'all for the next hour or so. I'm very excited. We are getting towards the end of summer, which means back to school season is about to start. I'm not quite ready for that yet, but I'm doing what I can, my friends. I'm doing what I can. And I'm just curious if you guys have any plans coming up for back to school as well. It's gonna be here before you know it. There's also some other things that are gonna be here before you guys know it, and let me tell you, I got some stuff coming up for sure. So I'm excited to hang out today. It's been a hot minute, and, I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to get my Instagram working, and I think I messed that up. I think we're just not gonna be able to go on Instagram today because I don't think I can fix that now. But I'm seeing everyone coming in. Hello, hello. Great to see you all today. I'm checking in on the comments. Where are my comment sections coming in? Hey, everyone. We are going. You know what? I still haven't fixed my introduction. I got copyright claimed. I don't know what the heck happened, if there was some kind of switch with the copyright rules of my intro video that now all of a sudden the audio for it is getting claimed. Like, I don't know if they changed it just recently and now I'm not allowed to free use that anymore, but I can't play my intro. I've been trying to I found some AI apps that will AI generate music, but I just can't find anything that has that right beat that the old kinda intro had that it's gonna fit right, so I don't know, I'm just gonna have to figure something else out, I guess. But I miss being able to play my intro, but I don't wanna get a copyright strike or copyright claim, I guess, and then they wind up stealing all the $20 or whatever that I'm gonna make on this live stream. So good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I've got some people coming in here. We're going to be doing some questions today. We're going to talk a little bit about back to school. We're going to talk about some events coming up. We got some events coming up in the medical billing and coding world, definitely for sure. Saying hi to Renette in New Jersey. I was just in New Jersey about a week and a half ago. Came up to visit Ocean City for the day. Da, da, hello to Julie. So we're going across. I actually got my Facebook working. I think there was a dislink in my Facebook for a while and it wasn't picking up the stream and posting it to Facebook. So we are finally back on Facebook. I don't know what the heck was going on there, but a lot of people were asking me, or maybe it was just the same person multiple times asking me why I wasn't posting as much on Facebook. And I'm like, not sure. Not sure. I don't know what's going on there. All right. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. I have a question here. I have to take my medical billing and coding certification exam. Good luck to you. Yeah. If you're looking for a medical billing job, most employers don't look necessarily for a certification like a CPB. They will look for your training and that you've completed some sort of formal training. But for coding, there's always looking for that AAPC or a HEMA credential. Got a comment here. Hey, Victoria, I'm studying to take my CCS. I still can't get a medical coding job with my CPC. It can be tough. You have to maintain a hearty, hearty inspiration, hearty motivation strategy, hearty just plan, I guess, to kind of keep looking for those jobs. Revka Stearns has been really good with that. And she is another one that was struggling with the finding the job with the CPC and then got her CCS and was able to find a job. So that's not really a terrible strategy. Michelle is here from Tennessee. Hello, Michelle. Ruby's asking, "Hi, Victoria. Do you think a charge capture specialist is the same as a coder but a different title?" Not necessarily. So in my day, what charge capture used to be would be like inputting super bills. I think that has probably shifted a little bit over the past few years. I wouldn't say that charge capture specialist is the same as a coder but a different title. I would look to see what certifications they're looking for. If they're requiring a medical coding certification like a CPC or a CCS, then it's possible that they've titled that coding position that way, but likely not. It's likely more so making sure that all of the charges are verified, that they're going through the system correctly. That would be my best guess. If they're not asking for a coding credential, it's probably not a coding position, but it could be a very, very good foot in the door type of position. Perfect Angel, am I saying that employers value a HEMA credentials over AAPC credentials? No, absolutely not. That's not the case at all. It's just that there's some positions that you need to have a certain HEMA certification for, and some positions that you can't find that you need a certain AAPC credential for. So there's different types of medical coding. There's inpatient, outpatient, prophy, and risk adjustment. And a lot of employers might prefer for inpatient coding certifications, a certification through a HEMA. They've predominantly, historically, been more aligned with inpatient coding, and AAPC has been more of the pro fee, the outpatient risk adjustment coding. So some employers will just prefer certain certifications for certain types of positions. And because there are different types of coding, you can't, for example, take a CPC certification and apply for an inpatient coding job because you need to know PCS coding in order to do inpatient coding. And that's not part of the CPC curriculum. Professional fee coding focuses on ICD-10-CM, CPT, and HCPCS. You don't learn PCS. So in order to be considered for inpatient coding positions, you're going to need to have one of those certifications that involve ICD-10 PCS coding, like the CIC or the CCS. Hello from the Philippines. So I don't know if you guys are going to Healthcon Philly, but I am heading out to Healthcon Philly. I think it's coming up in a few weeks, and I'm really excited. I'm getting together. I can't show you guys, it's a secret. I write on the back of my to-do list. I'm putting together the list of people that I wanna interview while I'm at Healthcon. And I basically just went through their speaker listing and just wrote down whoever looked good. So I have a list of, I think, ones I'll get, and then other ones that I don't think I will get. I don't think Robert Lyles will give me the time of day, but I don't know. If I tell him I know Tony Elholmes, I might have a slightly better chance. We shall see, but he's on the list because I saw he's gonna be there speaking. I will not be speaking at HealthCon Philly this year. I'm just going to participate and hang out and see what's going on. I have not picked out my attire yet. So when I was at Vegas, I did a lot of like sparkly, glittery type of stuff. And I'm like, what do I do when I'm at Philadelphia? Do I show up? I feel like I should get like a bunch of gritty attire and just show up in like, I'm gonna have to see if have like a gritty suit jacket or blazer or something like. Or I guess I could wear my Eagles attire. Carrie Rowland, hello from Florida. I'm going to be coming down your way hopefully in 2 weeks. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that all that tropical weather will kind of work its way out by then. What is needed to work in medical records? It depends. Employers usually have different qualifications for different medical records jobs. Sometimes they might want like a medical records training or certification. I've seen some colleges that do offer like a certificate of completion type of program in medical records. But others, they'll take things like if you have some sort of pertinent experience or if you've worked in healthcare before. So, yeah. Okay, I think I might be back now. I don't know what the heck happened there. I muted my mic, and then all of a sudden everything just crashed out. So I think we should be back right now. I'm glad I didn't lose too many of you. What were we talking about, though? We were talking about I don't remember. Okay. But yeah, I was talking about it's back to school. I've got my courses together. I'm still working on the CRC. It's mostly done. I still have to record it and then edit it, which is the beast. And I also wanna edit the slides or something because I just feel like the slides, like, they need something, and that's a big process to figure out how I can get everyone going. Is there music playing? Please tell me there's not music playing, because I was just listening to some very inappropriate music. I don't even wanna tell you what I was listening to because it was something for dance class that one of my instructors sent me, and it was not good. Uh, okay, so I'm glad we're back. But yeah, the E&M course is up. CRC course, what I'm planning to do is I don't wanna do a full well, it technically won't be a CRC course because I don't wanna touch on any of the AAPC's stuffy stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be somewhere in between the course and review level, so more like almost like a study guide type of companion level of a CRC course. So it's not gonna go over like the what is ICD-10-CM, and it's not gonna go over what is Medicare, but it's just gonna really concentrate on the HCCs more so. And of course, if you're looking for a medical billing and coding program, I would definitely recommend that you check out Preppy. So Preppy has kindly sponsored all of my live streams. They are amazing. And every time I talk to them, this program is getting better and better and better. And the feedback they are really taking to heart. They've been doing things like adding in tutoring programs, they've been adding in all kinds of support and you really are not gonna find a better budget-friendly, at your own pace, on-demand program for medical billing and coding. You can sign up for free for my medical billing and coding masterclass at medicalcodingmasterclass.com, and it will tell you all the information that you need to know about, like, what is medical billing and coding? What certifications are they looking for? What are the salaries? What is the career ladder? And then tell you about Preppy, which is the program that I recommend. Hashtag sponsored. Thank you, Preppy, for sponsoring this program. Um So let's get into Miss Sunshine Hicks is asking, I've taken the national exam 4 times and I want to know why the test is so difficult. Well, there's a lot on the line when we talk about medical coding. So it takes not much, a simple mistake that can make thousands of dollars of difference, sometimes even bigger than that in medical billing and coding. If we're not doing it correctly, it can cause huge financial impacts. It can cause huge patient impacts because they might be getting incorrect bills. And we have to keep the test very hard to maintain the integrity of our career and what we do. The accuracy is extremely, extremely important, and employers, unfortunately, aren't gonna wanna hire billers and coders that aren't being accurate in their billing and coding. So we have to maintain a very high level of professionalism. If it was easy, everyone would do it, and if it was easy and everyone was doing it, we also wouldn't be making very good money, right? So it's healthcare. Everything healthcare-wise has to be very accurate and very precise. Daisy Bear is asking a great question. What is the recommended second certification to get after the CPC? This really depends on your interests. So let's say you've gone through the CPC and you're like, you know what? Inpatient coding is really interesting me. I think I want to learn PCS. I think I want to become an inpatient coder. I think I want to code those hospital stays, work on those big long hospital stays. And I maybe you want to get the more inpatient coder salary. You could look at getting dual certified with AAPC and a HEMA and get your CCS with a HEMA. The equivalent of the AAPC version of that is the CIC. A lot more employers are willing to take the CIC now. It's become a little more adapted, a little bit more mainstream that they're willing to take. Um, if you've gone through the CPC and you're like, you know what, I don't like CPT coding and I really don't like HCPCS either. I love ICD-10 though. You might want to look into risk adjustment and get your CRC certification, certified risk adjustment coder. That could be a good one. The other option is, I would say if you know eventually you wanna get into auditing and you've been in coding for maybe a couple of years, maybe like 2 years at least, you could look into getting your CPMA or your certified medical auditing credential. Those are usually good next steps for people, unless you're really having a trouble finding a job and you're like, "I think maybe I wanna work in billing for a while," then CPB or the billing certification might be good too. One of the questions here, can you find a job with just a CPC and no prior experience fresh out of school? I want to specialize in something, but thought it would be a good idea to get some experience before I decide on. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people have gotten their CPC, had no prior experience in healthcare, and then gotten a job fresh out of school. There's also a good amount of people that it's taken some time, and there's also some people that and you will find tons of them online, and I will perfectly well admit it. You'll find lots of complaints online that people spent money, they got their CPC, and then they couldn't find a job, couldn't find a job, couldn't find a job. You have a lot better chances if you make sure that you have a good job finding strategy, if you have your resume done, if you're tracking the jobs that you're applying for, if you're applying for the correct positions for the certifications that you were trained in and that you have. Um, so, you have to keep up that motivation that you had going through training and going through passing your exam when you're also looking for a job. So, yeah, is it possible to get it? Yes. Are you gonna find 50,000 people out there complaining that they went to some school, I don't even know where, that they maybe went through the AAPC, they went through a local college, they went through some fly-by-night thing, all kinds of different training and couldn't find a job? Yeah, you are gonna see a lot of that, but you also have to consider, you're gonna see a lot more complaints than you are, um, favorable things. The people that finished school right away and got a job right away are busy training for their new job, so they're not out there posting things online singing praises, right? I actually was working already. So my career progression was I went to my local community college and I got a certificate, like a certificate of completion in medical billing insurance specialist, something like that. Then because of that, I got a job in charge entry. That charge entry job, they needed coders, so they said, "Hey, we'll train you to become coders. You have to pay out of pocket, and if you pass, we'll reimburse you." And then I got my CPC. I'm afraid to mute my mic now when I blow my nose because last time it broke the whole system. Apologies. Oh, Rebecca, I love this question. I have an AAPC membership and my local chapter is 15 minutes away. You're lucky. I thought I was lucky because I have 2 chapters within like an hour. 15 minutes away is like bomb. Do you think it would be beneficial helping find a job through that chapter? Yes. You need to get connected to your local chapter. A lot of these chapters, when they have their meetings, one of the first orders of business is to go through their chapter business, which includes many times jobs. Either jobs that they know or, "Hey, is anyone hiring where you're working, or does anyone need a job?" And start hooking people up. That is a big component of local chapters, and I actually just did a video on Thursday about local chapters. I'm running out of breath because I'm talking so fast. Oh my god. Just so excited. Oh my god, breathe, Victoria. Um, I just did a video talking about local chapters on Thursday, and one of the points I brought up was that I know quite a few people that work in supervisor or management roles, and they've said, "I prefer or I will give preference to people that are very active with their local chapter," because they know that then they have demonstrated that extra level of commitment. They're committed to going out, networking, working with others, getting their continuing education credits. So there's quite a few people out there, especially in these large organizations, that if they know you're active in a local chapter, that's like a big feather in your cap. So definitely. So Will has a question, and I feel like people are traveling a lot these days because I seem to be getting questions similar to this pretty frequently lately. Hello, I'm looking into the job of medical coding. I'm a US citizen, but I currently live in another country. My desire is to work for a US country remotely while I work here. Is this possible? Yes. As far as what companies, I'm not familiar with that. As far as what countries they'll take, not familiar with that. And as far as work visas, I really can't say. I'm not an expert in that either. I do know that they exist and that there are US companies that hire outside of the US. But as far as likelihood, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and what that looks like, unfortunately, I just don't have the expertise to kinda advise too much on that. I have heard some people that are in, for example, um, Germany or in the Bahamas, and they'll say that they have been able to get jobs outside of the US, and their jobs they're more government jobs, though. So if apparently that's, like, one of the more focused areas outside of the US is if you have, like, a government position. Rebecca's asks, "They also have positions available in my local chapter. Is there a criteria when it comes to being a chapter member?" So we have chapter members, so anyone that's a AAPC member that's assigned to that chapter, and then we also have chapter officers, which are the people who run the chapter. So the chapter officers are all 100% volunteer positions. Anyone who's a member can apply to be an officer, but I believe you do still have to have a certification for certain ones. President, I know you have to have a certification to be president, and I think there might be one other position that's escaping me at the moment. Um, but as far as, yeah, if you wanna run as a chapter officer, you just need to be a member of the AAPC. Some of the positions, they do require you to have a certification, but you can go to multiple chapters as well. There's been more chapters recently, though, that are starting to charge a small fee for outside members for certain meetings. So, I recently went to I think, a meeting with the Allentown chapter, and it was free to attend for members of the Allentown chapter, but if you were a visiting chapter, I think you had to pay, like, $5 or something to attend. So we are starting to see more of that, that if you're visiting from an outside chapter, one that you're not assigned to, they might charge a nominal fee, or they might have a certain seminar or special event that has a fee. So just check on the event page. If you go onto the AAPC website, you can look at all the different events that are happening with other chapters. Because I roam around to other chapters. Right now, I'm assigned to Reading. I'll go to Allentown. I'll go to Lancaster. I'll go out to Philadelphia. I haven't been to York yet, but it's on my list. So I'll go around to a bunch. And then I keep track of the ones that are in Florida too, and I think 1 or 2 in California that I know have really cool events. Javier says, "I'm just starting my AAPC journey and taking the Fundamentals to Medicine course. Any tips in studying and preparing for the CPC course coming up?" If you're talking about, like, the medical coding components of it, don't worry yet about the medical coding part until you get to it. If you're learning med term, you're learning medicine, you're learning pharmacology, whatever, focus on that right now and don't try to jump ahead yet to coding because you will completely overwhelm yourself. You're going to need your full attention to be on those coding chapters when it's time to learn coding. Now, having said that, is there some materials you could additionally get so that when that time comes, you'll have some supplements? Yeah, we can do that. One book I really like. This is an older edition, but this is Medical Terminology and Anatomy for Coding. So the cool thing about this book is they tie in all of the med term stuff that they're instructing you to specific codes and procedures and tips on how to code them as you're learning med term. So this is a great supplement. This is a slightly older edition. This is the third edition. They also have a fourth edition. The only real difference between the third and fourth edition is just the code changes. The med term stuff doesn't really change, but there might be some code changes and updates. You can also, if you want an ebook version of this and you're like, I don't want to have this big paper book sitting around forever and a day, you can get this on Vital Source Bookshelf, which is where a lot of the ebooks for medical coding are available now. And I think you can rent it for 90 days for fairly cheap if you just want to like have it for a while as a supplement while you're studying. And then you're like, I'm going to be done with it afterwards and you're trying to save some money. Might be a good option. Um, Depending on what program you're going through, If you're going through the AAPC program for CPC, you could also look into getting the Bucks step-by-step medical coding books. Those are the ones I kinda prefer to learn with. They're the ones I used to teach with at the tech school, and they're great. There's also a workbook, so if you want to just use the workbook, you can. The one issue is that they have been flip-flopping with providing answers to all of the questions. A couple years ago, I had seen people that were, um coming onto my channel, and they're like, "Victoria, I bought these Bucks step-by-step books, and only, like, half of the answers are in there," and I think they may have pushed Bucks to the point that last year they put all of the answers in the books, but then the instructors started complaining because all the answers were in the books and their students were just basically, like, copying them and cheating through their homework. So now, like, not all of the answers are in the books again, but as far as learning medical coding, they're great. It's just that if you buy, like, the workbooks or the study books, not all of the answers are gonna be in there to check now. Some people, that's a big thing, other people, it's not as much of a consideration. And then there are the CPC, um, study guides are good too, and the practice exams, that's gonna help you the most. So if you have a bundle with the AAPC, oftentimes they'll include things like the study guide and the practice exams. If not, you can find those on the website. Let's see if I can share over here. Da, 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 da. Okay, here we go. So if we go into the AAPC website, where is it? I really need to get more familiar with the website these days. Certifications, prepare for a certification exam. I think we do that. And then prepare for exam, CPC, uh, practice exams. Here we go. So the practice exams are extremely helpful, especially because they updated them a few months ago, and now they have that same look and feel as when you're taking the actual exam. An actual exam, whether you're taking it like remote proctor or at the exam center, and one's just as good as the other, but the practice exams are really great. I think they're awesome. I would definitely look into the practice exams or the study guides for the CPC. Mary, I'm glad you asked that. I would like to know what's the best online school for medical billing and coding. The one I recommend, because I know they take amazing care of my viewers, is called Preppy. You can find out more about it at preppy.org. If you need to know about the whole of like medical billing and coding, what is it? How do I get started in this career? I have a free career masterclass at medicalcodingmasterclass.com. You can go there, you can sign up, and then at the end it will tell you all about Preppy as well. So it'll prepare you for everything. But yeah, that's the program that I recommend. If you are looking for something that's not in the preppy format, which is, like, on demand at your own pace, like, you take it online. Check your local community colleges and see what they have available. Sometimes they do have certificate programs that they can get you workforce improvement grants or some sort of financial aid for. The AAPC program, just at aapc.com, is great too. Oftentimes, there's great programs that you can get with, packages that you can package in, your membership and your study guides and your materials and all your books. And they do have financing available, which is helpful because they're not a formal educational institution. You can't get like financial aid, like government assistance, but there are payment programs available there. And Preppy has payment programs as well. Mm, I'm seeing Lauren has a question here. Here we go. I have a question. So I just passed my CPC exam looking for jobs, but I don't have experience in the field. Where is the best place to start externship? You can check Project Extern with the AAPC. If you don't have an internship or externship available in your educational program, it's oftentimes very, very difficult to find them outside of an educational program. They're very limited. So Project Extern is out there, but as far as who they have affiliates with and who they can place you with, it's a little tough. But if you're an AAPC member, project extern, I always have trouble finding it, so I just Google things. Let's see. Here we go. So project extern, there it is. So that's AAPC project extern. You have to be an AAPC member, but you can apply there. The other option I would have is to get kind of like a foot in the door job. What I do is I have a video that's on the channel you can check out. I'll pull it up so you can see which one I am referencing. Don't get distracted by vlogs while we're looking at YouTube, Victoria. Okay. Look at all my stats on there. Oh, do I have a playlist? I might have put together a playlist for jobs. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, cool. Let's see here. I have, if we go over here, so on the main channel page, if you go to there and then you scroll down to the playlist, I have a whole playlist of job finding advice. The best one I think that's most recent, and I should probably put at the top of the playlist, is da, 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 da. Is it this one? Yeah, how to find a job in medical billing and coding in 2024. That would probably be your best bet to check because I talk a lot about strategies and stuff in that video. Magical Lettuce 100 is asking, if I buy 2 vouchers and I pass the first time, what happens to the second voucher? Essentially, it disappears. If you get 2 vouchers and you pass it the first time, that's it. Like, you don't get to do like a retake for a higher score. You just don't use the second voucher. That's all. I've been addicted to these circles lately. The little flavor thingies. I was at, the video game convention that my sister used to own, about a month ago, and they got a sponsorship by Circle, and there's all these gamers lined up to get these free, like, squeeze bottles, and they had free cartridges or whatever they call them available, and I lined up and got hooked, and now I've got the big Circle new straw cup, and I've got a giant box full of all these different flavor sips, and I'm just like I'm drinking a lot more water, which is great. S-Bay asks, "What is the difference between the CRC and the CPC? And if one likes the sound of CRC, may one pursue that right after passing the CPC exam?" Actually, with any AEPC certifications, there's not an order that you have to take them in. We have what we call core credentials with the AAPC, but it's not like there's a core and an add-on credential. All those credentials that they have with the AAPC, you can just go right ahead and take any of them. You don't have to get a CPC first and then get another certification. Having said that, most people start with the CPC because it's a good baseline credential. It'll train you in kind of all of the different specialties, all the different types of medical coding and professional fees. So if you wanted to get into pediatrics or cardiology or do evaluation and management, you would have that baseline knowledge of all of that. So that's what the CPC is, to give you kind of that core professional fee coding understanding. A lot of people that get the CPC, their second credential is the CRC. So the CRC involves just ICD-10-CM coding. So it's coding for um, different diseases and conditions. It does has a lot to do with quality programs that are out there in healthcare, making sure that we're budgeting appropriately, we're capturing all of the severity of patients, and making sure that we have the right funding, right bonuses, everything going on with that. So the CPC has 3 code sets that they train on: the ICD-10-CM, CPT, and HCPCS. Some people don't like CPT and HCPCS, so they go and get their CRC and just work in risk adjustment coding because they only have to work with ICD-10-CM. I personally am a bigger fan of ICD-10-CM than I am of CPT. So, you absolutely can. That would be a great plan if you wanted to get your CPC and then get your CRC. A lot of people are doing that now. Some risk adjustment jobs are somewhat seasonal or contractual, so they might contract you for maybe 9 months, and at the end of the 9 months, they might have another project for you, or you might just be laid off or have to find another contract or do something else. So there is still a good amount of contractual work done in risk adjustment. Javier says, I wanted to get a foot in the door job while I'm taking my AAPC courses for the CPC. That's a good idea. And I was offered a position as a podiatrist as a medical assistant. Would you consider this a good option to gain experience? It depends. My understanding of medical assistants is that then they are doing some clinical aspects. So I don't know if you have particular training in that to take like blood pressure from patients and take their vitals and that sort of thing. That's always been my understanding of a medical assistant. I know there are like medical secretary type positions where you don't do that, where it's more like front desk type of work. Um, but, I would make sure that if you are going to go for that, that you're aware of what the requirements are and that you are meeting that. If they're gonna be asking you to do things like some, vital sign checks and stuff of patients, and if that's something you're willing to do. When is the next Preppy online program? They are on demand. So if you were to sign up, you would have access as soon as you sign up. If you ever have questions about the Preppy program, you can contact help@preppy.org, and they are, like, fantastic at responding. They're very, very quick. I know they had some periods of time where, like, they were still kind of building up the program and working on some things, but now it's, like, it's very smooth sailing, so they should be back to you, like, really quick. Got a great question here from Moon Bunny. Moon Bunny's asking, I passed my CPC exam. How do I keep my skills sharp while I'm looking for a job? Okay, perfect question. Number one, get involved with your local chapter. Go onto your AAPC account, check your membership information, and see what local chapter you're assigned to, what events they're having, if they're having Zoom meetings, if they're having in person, and start getting involved in your local chapter. And the second thing you want to do is um, start reading Healthcare Business Monthly. I don't know if I have. Oh, I guess it's called AAPC the magazine now. Yeah, it used to be Healthcare Business Monthly, it's now AAPC the magazine. This is a free membership benefit. I always have to be careful of which one I'm picking up because you can see I purposely, like, blur out what my address is on them, but you have access to that, like, literally right now as an AAPC member, and there's an archive of them, and they have all kinds of information and articles for members, by members. I'll actually sign on to my account so I can show you guys. Why is this so weird? I don't know if it's the AAPC website or my browser, but it's, like, squished or something. Like, a part of the screen is, like, cut off. Okay, we'll go over this way. No, that's not a good spot for me to be. Where's a good spot for me to be? There we go, that's okay, you see what I mean? Like, it's the right-hand side of my screen is cut off there, but I don't see, like, the scroll bar to do I don't know, it just looks weird today. But in any case, so we're on the AAPC website. What we wanna do is we wanna go to resources, and here is AAPC the magazine, and they have an archive, so you can go here. So here's our current article. You can go and view that here. We'll view the full issue. It'll take a minute or 2 to load, and you can flip through and read the whole magazine, and you can also earn CEUs. So if you read the magazine, there's gonna be a quiz that you can take based off of the content of the magazine, so that's the test yourself over here. And when you do the test yourself, you can earn CEUs by completing those and passing them at a 70%. So those are the 2 big things I recommend. Get involved with your local chapter and keep up with AAPC, the magazine. If you, have Practicode to complete, you can also work on Practicode. I would say I haven't been on Practicode in a while. I don't know if they've updated to Practicode 2.0 yet. Can anyone is anyone online that's been or in the chat that has, done Practicode lately, and can you confirm if they've moved to, like, Practicode 2.0? Because I know they were talking about it, and I'm not sure if they have or haven't moved on where it's, like, a little bit more better supported now. But if you're gonna do Practicode, look on Facebook for some of those Practicode support groups to see if you can get some support there because it's tough getting through Practicum. Okay. I feel like my camera keeps moving on me. Beep. Hmm. Jonathan asks, I have an opportunity to join a medical billing team. They aren't requiring certifications. I'm curious for someone that is a fairly quick learner. How long can I expect before I am useful to the team? Um, Probably 2, 3 months. You know, I would really make sure that you're diving in that first month, getting your feet wet, taking notes, absorbing as much as you can. But I would say after, like, 2, 3 months, usually that's kind of when you're getting more familiar with the tasks that you're assigned. You know, you're kinda getting towards the end of probably a probationary period and getting more familiar with the rev cycle and how to be of service. They're adding sample questions to their modules for the upcoming year and allowing participants to opt in or out of them. I need to see that. Someone needs to let me have access to that. I have to take a look. I don't wanna have to buy Practicode though. Let's see. Alright, what do you think is the most important part of the revenue cycle? I think every part is important, but the front end kickstarts it all. It's very true. There's a lot of small things that can happen in the front end that wind up having a huge trickle down effect. So I would say I would very much agree with that. Mm. Let me go back through some of these questions that I had. Taking a look here. Are there any companies which sponsor H-1B to get the coding jobs as I am certified and I also have experience for 4 years? I don't know what H-1B is. Which sponsors H-1B? Yeah, that I'm not familiar with. What is the proper training that employers mainly looking for in the medical billing and coding industry? Usually they're looking more so for certifications, but they also want to see that you had some kind of formal training. There are people out there who've worked in healthcare and can self-study, but I think as far as what's gonna make you look more employable, more desirable to employers, it would be if you had formal training through maybe like AAPC.com, if you had formal training through a program like Preppy, or if you went through like a local community college, something that is not just kind of like Cindy's coding school, although there are some pretty prestigious ones out there. I know the Andrews School is really good, and they take really good care of their students, and there's a few others out there, so that's what I would say. But more so, they really wanna see those certifications, especially for coding programs. They wanna see the CPC, they wanna see, the CCS. How do you become an auditor? I have years of experience, but cannot get any more, and I'm having trouble getting an interview for these positions. I also have my CPMA. Any tips? What I would do is really take a strong look at your resume and see if your resume indicates that you have the level of expertise to be qualified for the auditing positions. Focus in on more so when you're showing your skills in your resume that you've done the higher level, you've done some things that are more investigative, you've done research, you know federal guidelines. The more you can play into those characteristics of an auditor when you're presenting yourself, I think you'll have a better chance. Definitely having your CPMA is a good one as well because a lot of places they're looking for that more. I've had some positions where I was transitioned into different departments, and that was a requirement of the department for their auditors, and some people didn't have that, and then they had to kind of rush and get their CPMA, so certainly already having that is one foot forward. Do you know when the CPC is gonna be fill in the blank? I will likely be taking the CPC in January and so worried. There's absolutely no definitive date yet. It is something that they are testing. They've put it into some of the practice exams that they have online for the AAPC. But as far as an official date, I don't know yet. January might be possible because I feel like if they're going to make a switch to the exam, something major like that, they would probably wanna do it when they're also doing their annual changes instead of having to do the annual code updates that happen January 1 and having to update the exam for that, and then also, like, halfway through the year having to update for fill in the blanks. So, while nothing's official, I could see it being likely that maybe in January 1 we would see them. And honestly, I wouldn't I wouldn't fear the fill in the blank questions. They're really honestly not that bad. I think a lot of people really work themselves up and make them to be worse than they really are in their head. The other thing you have to consider about fill in the blanks is they are currently in the practice exams. I could see them making this official for the actual exams as well. They're on a scale. So say, for example, you have a fill in the blank question and they say, okay, there's going to be one CPT code and three ICD-10 CM codes. So four different answers, right? Four different blanks. And if you get just one of them wrong, right? Instead of it being minus zero point 0.1, it's just going to be minus 0.25 on the exam. So you do get partial credit for the parts that you do get right. So honestly, I think a lot of people are very anxious about that. I can certainly understand the anxiety, but I really do not think that they're going to be as difficult as everyone is hyping them up to be in their head. I don't think that it's gonna be like you open up your exam and you've got a 10-page note and they're gonna ask you to have 12 different codes for it. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be, "Oh, look, here's a note. You're gonna need 2 CPTs and 2 ICD-10 CMs." It's not gonna be a huge ordeal that they're intentionally making it more difficult. It still has to be a fair level of difficulty to make sure that it's what employers want, right? That we're assessing so that we're making sure that you're marketable and that it's the correct level of difficulty to test your proficiency. So it's not like we're gonna make super easy fill in the blank questions where it's like, "Hey, here's we just need one fill in the blank. What's the code for hypertension? Oh, it's I-10." But I think they are doing their absolute due diligence at the AAPC to beta test everything and make sure that this is the correct way to go. Sherry, that's a great question. She says, I graduate from a college billing and coding program on the 18th. I am 2 classes away from a degree. Would you go for the degree? I would. I mean, it's easier when you've kind of got that momentum going to just go ahead and take the extra 2 classes. And if you've got the time, you've got the money, and you've got the resources to do it, I would just go ahead and get the degree. What other options are there for beginner medical coding jobs except for doctors' offices? Are insurance companies good options? And is it harder or easier to get a job from that route? It is probably the same. So you can get jobs from doctors' offices, hospitals, healthcare systems, insurance companies, workers' comp companies, auto insurance companies. You could get jobs working even for different vendors. So programs that companies that make programs that do medical coding or clearinghouses. Um, those are some additional options as well. Hi, Victoria. The job market is tough right now. Any resume tips to stand out to employers? I'm a recently certified CPC with 2 years experience in claim processing. Okay, so here's I'm going to tell you 2 things you can do. The ideal one to do if you have the budget, and then the more maybe possibly budget-friendly one to do, the more DIY approach. So, I would recommend if you're gonna get a resume done, either go with Sarah Reagan or at Caffeinated Coder Creations. She's on LinkedIn and Facebook, so you can find her Sarah Reagan, Ragan. Caffeinated Coder Creations. She does amazing, amazing resumes. There's also Project Resume. So sometimes Sarah is not always available. You can check Project Resume. They always, I think, have availability. And they are a partner, well, I won't say partner, but an affiliate of the channel. So I do receive a commission if you go through Project Resume. Um, so those are great options. The other thing I would recommend is I would take maybe, like, the top 3 positions or so that you're looking for, and you're like, "This is the kind of jobs I wanna do." Save them as a PDF, and then also take your resume, save that as a PDF, and then kind of feed it into ChatGPT and go, "Hey, ChatGPT, here's my current resume. Here's the type of positions that I'm looking to get. What would you recommend that I add or subtract or do to my resume in order to make it look better to fit what the employers are looking for in this job?" So you can ask AI to kind of assist you and take a look and go, "Okay, here's this is what I'm trying to do. This is where I'm currently at. Like, what can I do to kind of bridge that gap there?" So that's another option you can do there. Use AI to your advantage. I've heard some people say that you should take all of the skills that are in it and like paste them in the bottom of your resume in the tiniest font possible in white so it will come up in the searches. I think that's that's kind of a sneaky tactic, and I don't know that I 100% condone that, but I have heard people say they've done that before. Monday, Monday. Gretchen says, "Thank you. I just started school and literally just got into ICD-10 and are already confused on which to report first." Yeah, so with ICD-10 CM, sometimes we have sequencing regulations. We have our code first or code also or include. Um, or there might just be sequencing guidelines that we have in the general ICD-10 CM guidelines. But in the absence of having an official guidance saying this has to go first or this has to go second or this has to be before this other one, the sequencing of ICD-10 CM doesn't particularly matter outside of having the official guidance. So, for example, if a patient has like diabetes and they also have osteoarthritis, there's no guidance saying one has to go before the other. So you could put them in different orders. Excuse me. Oh, feeling a little funny right now. So in those cases, it doesn't particularly matter. And actually, kind of going back to we were talking about the fill in the blank questions on the CPC exam and the possibility of that. Oh, I might have drank too much water too fast. Um, when I went through the practice exams, and it was like, "Okay, you need 3 ICD-10 CM codes," and there wasn't, like, a sequencing guideline. You could input those in any order, and it would still accept them as correct. So, in the absence of a sequencing guideline, a lot of places will say just put them in the same order that the physician lists them. So, if they list this one first, put that one first. Um, so yeah. Hmm. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We are at the top of the hour now. I really appreciate you guys coming in. I will see you guys back, hopefully, maybe next week, because I have to go on vacation the week after that. But it was great. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.